steps forward. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Yes, you
So
are.
there's two points there. Obviously, one was about the seeking reassurance that the process of valuing the leaseholders' homes was a transparent and robust one, bearing in mind some of the maybe unfortunate experiences of people on Marksfield North. And obviously, the second point was around a proper and ongoing and robust financial risk assessment process for all of the regenerated estates at various stages of development, obviously.
In response to Councillor Dyer's first question around valuation of Marksfield North, I can't speak about Marksfield North because I don't know what the process was at that time because I wasn't necessarily involved. All I can say is that we will ensure that, first of all, this is going to be a completely council-controlled process. Residents' engagement will always be with the council itself and therefore democratically accountable through elected councillors, not in any way outsourced to external parties. The ability to have independent advice without having to worry about how much it would cost, we hope, is something that provides reassurance and is something that we take very seriously. As a council, we've got no interest at all in trying to lowball existing residents. The aim is to try and keep communities together that, because we have to rebuild the estate in order to give tenants a decent home, should not in any way disadvantage people who have become homeowners or who live there, and that's why we've gone through all of those different options. So as much as I can say is that we will aim to be as transparent as possible throughout that process and to work with residents rather than conflicting with residents, and it will be entirely council controlled on valuation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
hearing that on valuation, sorry, let
You
me
need
just...
to turn your microphone.
Oh, sorry. Hearing that on... Yeah. Hearing that around valuation, there's still a little concern and anxiety for me, because if you say that you're not aware of what happened on Myattsfield North, that means that the lessons in terms of the valuation experience haven't moved into the process that you're dealing with in this process, and that leaves me a lot of anxiety and concern. We can't dismiss previous experiences and repeat the same process without learning what the mistakes were from the other. So that's what I would like some reassurance about. You may not know, Matthew, but actually the officers do know and should know, and if they don't know, need to know, so that they can provide reassurance to me in relation to our residents. That's that one. So I hope you will take that away and deal with that one. So in relation to the second question, please.
In terms of risk, I mean, you're absolutely right. Developments of this scale, the risk exposure for the council is very significant. So we need to make sure that fundamentally at a project level, programme level, the risks are monitored and managed in a suitable way. So one of the next steps for Cressingham Gardens will be to appoint a development management team, as we have on Westbury, South Lambeth.
No.
And
I want to hear. We are asking on your behalf. We're asking on behalf of the residents. Please allow the dialogue to take place. Let's not waste this very precious time. Thank you.
They'll be responsible for managing and monitoring the risks on a project level, and Lambeth will be the client, so we will have a far closer relationship than on other regeneration schemes. But I think ultimately, every time the council has to take a significant financial investment decision about any of these projects, a business case will have to be developed. That business case will need to be signed off by the Section 151 officer in the council, and ultimately it will need to come to Cabinet, and we will need to show within the report to Cabinet that there is a robust system in place to manage risk and that we have done that adequately before any decision is taken.
That doesn't, sorry. That's not answered my question. That's answered a piece of the question. The question is, although I actually appreciate what you just fed back because that's helpful in terms of the decision making that leads to the next stage, so to speak, around business case, etc. I'm actually asking about what I would assume would be a consistent system of risk management that would be in place pertaining to every single scheme that you have. I know that hasn't happened with Myattsfield, right? So I know that's an issue for me. But in pertaining to these other regeneration schemes, which are not delegated to a private provider, because MFN is of a different nature, so I can understand that. But what I'm asking about is the robust financial risk register or risk system that's in place that you would replicate across each regeneration scheme from at all stages, each systematically. Thank you. Systematically at every step and every step of the way. What reassurances can you give me about that, and how you use that feedback to inform your decisions at every step of the phase? Because, so for example, if the information was coming back, using this risk register with all the criteria that you'd use, and saying, you know what, this isn't working. So how can you reassure me around that?
I mean, in terms
am I making sense?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I think that it absolutely is enshrined in the way that we manage the programme. So every individual project has its own risk register. That feeds into a programme level risk register. It is assessed by peers within the organisation, and it's constantly updated. Those systems are in place, and I think the big advantage about Lambeth delivering all of these projects is that we do apply that consistent approach to risk.
Councillor Morris, and we're going to make this the last one on the financial bits because we've still got the two other aspects to consider before the decision.
Thanks.
Hello, can we have some order? Thank you.
Sure.
Councillor Morris. Councillor Morris, please. Councillor Morris. Are you Councillor Morris? No. Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Chair. I do want to ask
Simon,
I did want to ask something about the leaseholder stuff, but I shall wait until we get round to the third question, which is about impact on residents, I think. But for the moment, what I just wanted to ask was the fact that in the papers on page 7 of the second dispatch, it said that if the refurbishment process took place over a shorter period of time, then it would be, I think it'd be more costly. It says the outcome which contained refurbishment would be even worse than currently shown. I think I know the answer to the question, but I just wanted officers to explain why that is.
We're at bullet 2.17.
Yes, it's paragraph 2.17.
I think it's just saying that in the modelling we model the refurbishment works over a longer period of time than they would actually happen in reality. So in reality, the refurbishment works would probably take place over 18 months, 2 years. But in the model, I think my interpretation of this is it's modelled over a longer period of time. So by having all of those costs in a smaller period of time has a negative effect on the modelling, because you'll be building up interest payments from an earlier point in the model, because you'll be spending a larger chunk of capital in the first 2 years, and that will obviously have the interest payments linked to it.
Okay. Right, unless there's anything really, really pressing on the financial stuff, we've got